The year is 1925. In Omaha, Nebraska, you've got three brothers and one cousin, and they decide they want to start their own supermarket chain. Now, they looked at a very successful chain at the time that's still around today called the Piggly Wiggly. And they said maybe the key to success is to have a silly, kind of cute name. So they said, let's come up with our own. And they chose Hinky-Dinky, which is actually from a World War I soldier sing-along song that is actually kind of dirty. The song is called Mademoiselle from Armentières, but most people know it from the chorus, which is Hinky-Dinky Parlez-vous. If you've seen every episode of The Golden Girls, there is an episode where Estelle Getty's character hosts a rousing sing-along of this song. Piggly Wiggly has a mascot, Mr. Pig, but Hinky-Dinky had their own spokeswoman, which was Helen Davis. Now, Helen Davis was a character, sort of like Betty Crocker. She didn't actually exist, well, sort of she existed. They hired a woman named Donna Everly of Omaha, Nebraska, to play Helen Davis. Now, Helen Davis's name is exactly the same number of letters as Hinky-Dinky, and it starts with an H, and then the second name starts with a D. It's very symmetrical and lines up perfectly with Hinky-Dinky, and so Donna would play this character. She would go to store openings. She answered a hotline. If you had questions about how to cook a turkey, you called Helen Davis.
Folks tell us Hinky-Dinky has the best fresh fruits and vegetables in town, and mushrooms has got to be one of the reason why.
It's fresh, it's Hinky-Dinky.
The Sounds of Spring for $6.98. You could get a couple Kenny Rogers albums. That's a good deal. This was not uncommon at all in the 80s. I used to go to the grocery store and they always had cassettes. They had a little area in our Acme shopping center. You would have your standard audio cassette and then it would be in this plastic casing, which was about this long. And this was to keep you from like putting it in your pocket and stealing it. So you'd have to take that thing home and you'd need like a hacksaw to cut this thing open to get your cassette. Here's an interesting thing that Hinky-Dinky did. They took two computer terminals and they put them in one of their stores to test market in 1975. And what they wanted to do was promote banking in the store, because back then we didn't have debit cards and you certainly couldn't use your Apple Pay. And so everybody would have their checkbook, which you would open up and you'd write the amount and then you'd write your check, peel it off to them. And so they wanted a method where people could actually bank at the grocery store. And so they came up with a procedure for this. And now today, pretty much every grocery store has a small bank in it, and they certainly did in the 80s and 90s. Well, Hinky-Dinky was the store that piloted that idea. At the height of Hinky-Dinky, there were 50 Hinky-Dinkys spread out all across the Midwest. And then as you went into the 80s and 90s, more and more of them started to close down, and they started to get absorbed into other chains. And by the year 2000, all of the Hinky-Dinkys were gone. We always have some Hinky-Dinky left in our hearts. And if you like this content, go ahead and subscribe.